This episode of the Westwood Living Podcast brings us back to the kitchen of Hania Khuri-Trapper. Hello, good morning. How are you, my dear?
Good morning, Tom.
So I'm flipping through my social media recently, and I see that you have written another book.
Yes, I have. So excited. Just coming out this week. It just printed, but I still have a online presence that will happen in January. So that's not available yet. But.
So my first reaction when I saw this was like, wow, the first book must have done well for there to be the initiative and commitment to do a second book. So let's give those who are listening a little bit of history. The first book, was it Rest and Return.
Yep.
Okay, so that was published when?
That was published 2021.
And that was really born from your experiences related to the COVID pandemic and
Correct.
How people interacted with you and how you inspired them. And I thought that was very cool to learn about that and understand how that came to be. But this one, to me, I got to tell you, seems a little bit more robust, a little thicker. I'm looking at a hardcover edition of this book, which is called Home is Here. So take me through the 3-year process of how we got to the production of Home is Here.
Sure. So Rest and Return was it's basically 52 weeks of messages that I share in my yoga classes and in my mindfulness classes and meditation. So that's what I am. I'm a teacher. And I've been kind of using these messages each week based on a quote. And so I share the quote, the message, and my design and photography. For 52 weeks, I was sharing this with students during COVID for the first book. Since then, I have wanted to keep going on that sort of track because every time I learn something, I want to share it. So I share it with my students first, and then I sort of document it and put it into a sort of file where I end up creating a book out of it. So from my design skills and from my photography, I kind of weave it all together and give all these different messages. And the messages are cool because each one is completely separate from the other. So you can kind of open up the book and look at one week and say, oh, I want to learn about this week. It's a little micro learning moments for each of these spreads.
I know that you're very creative and you've done a ton of logos and your photography is fantastic. Don't tell me that all these photos were taken by you.
Of course. Yeah.
Every single photo in this book was taken by you.
Yep.
And I know you travel around the world, but is there any one place that has really presented to you more photograph opportunities?
Yeah. So I have a lot of photos from maybe Mexico. Yeah, that's the place. That's actually the Alps. You can see the Alps on that one. Tom's looking at one of the one of the pages.
I can't believe you took all these pictures.
Yeah. And a lot of them are from the woods in our neighborhood, right here. Some of them, that's a great story. I can tell you about that. Some of them are from my trips around the world. Like we talked about, I run retreats. So I've been to Mexico a few times and I've found a lot of beautiful images there. I also love the Cliff House in Maine, and I always end up taking pictures of that beautiful place. And then they're just random, like all over the world. That's in France. That's a farmer's market. Tom is scrolling through. That's in Paris.
I'm zipping through.
Yeah.
There are so many things that you just touched on there. One of them being you travel around the world.
Yeah.
And you do these retreats. And I know that we're going to get back into the book and its release and promoting it and all the rest of that. But how do these retreats to foreign countries work? And how long does it take for you to get a crew committed to go on one of these trips, and what do one of these trips entail?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I just kind of started this after I teach a lot. Every week I teach around 16 or plus classes a week. And so I have a lot of students that really, we learn from each other, we grow together. It was kind of the natural progression to do something and bring them somewhere else, not just the yoga studio, but bring them into life somewhere. So the first retreat, I partnered with this wonderful woman she teaches in Bali, and she's an incredible yoga teacher, a trauma-informed teacher. Her name is Katie Nesbitt. I adore her. She's a good colleague of mine, and we ended up partnering together and doing this these retreats. She actually has a retreat company called Soulscapes Retreats, and she runs around the world doing all these retreats with her partner. And she just asked me, I asked her one time, this is the one thing I've never done and I'd really like to do it. She said, why don't we do this together and I can help you? So she partnered with me, and we've been doing this for now. We're on maybe our 5th one. We've gone to Mexico. We're going on our 3rd time. We've been to Italy. We're going to Greece next year.
Yes.
And that one sold out in a week.
It did?
Oh yeah, it's already done.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they've been selling out. And I think it's because people really need that idea of taking time for themselves, and maybe not necessarily taking a trip with the family or with the husband or with the partner, your partner, but just actually doing something for you with a very safe space, with a group that you know you can trust and that you can open up to, and that you know that the whole retreat is going to be taken care of. You're not going to have to worry about anything. So that's kind of the idea behind it. It's a sort of a nurturing self-care. I call it rest and return after the first book, because that's really what it is. It's rest, enjoy yourself, and learn something new, and then come back and return home to your life a better person.
One of these days, I got to get myself on one of those trips.
I would love you to join.
We did go to Mykonos ourselves this past summer, and we had a fantastic time. When is that trip?
That's in September 2026.
Wow, fantastic.
Yeah.
The other thing that I want to ask you about before I get back to the book is that you've got an unbelievable relationship with Marcus Smart. And how did that start? And like, he brings you to far away places to work with him and run what?
Yeah. So he has a wonderful foundation called the Young Game Changer Foundation. And they contacted me and asked me if I wanted to be part of this foundation, because they were launching a mindfulness program for the military. So he helps all these military families' children, active duty families' children. And I actually go in and teach the active duty military about mindfulness, about meditation, about yoga. And we first started this whole program that we've created, and we started it in Texas at Fort Cavavos. And then we went back the following year, and then we added Fort Campbell in Kentucky. So we went there. Our last trip was at Pearl Harbor with the Navy. So we started teaching the Navy about all this mindfulness and meditation work. And he's just wonderful. He works with the kids, and he's just fantastic with them. They run a whole entire clinic for the kids while I teach the parents, the active duty military people.
I think it's really cool that he stays connected with somebody who he got to know when he was here in Boston, and he's no longer here in Boston, but you're still connected with him. That's very cool.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay, back to the book. At what point did you make the commitment that you wanted to create a second book, and how did you take the lessons from the first book and apply it to the publication of the second book?
Oh, that's a good question. I feel like it was a very intuitive process. Every time I would teach a week worth of classes and I would research my theme that week, I would actually bring it right into this file of mine. And just like I did on the first one, and it just became a thing where I would document what I learned along the way. And it just felt natural to take all the work. For the last 3 years, I was a little more selective about which messages I chose, because it was 3 years worth of messages that I kind of cherry picked from. And then I found I liked the format. Somehow it feels like it worked. And so I just kept the theme, and I just feel like it's now a thing where maybe I'll do a third one. Like, I feel like a trio would be nice, but this is the content that I really am inspired by. And I just wanted to share it with people, and it just felt natural. And some of them are just poems and simple, and some of them are actually more, real learning opportunities, like, learning about your comfort zone and your growth zone and the areas of what happens in our nervous system, things like that. And then also learning about different ways to calm the body, to de-stress, also ways to empower yourself in different ways, and also ways to find compassion for people that are not like you, maybe different from you. So these messages are kind of carried out throughout. But the real message of the book is about the fact that struggle allows us to grow. And that's the same theme as the first book. So the first book had the theme of the lotus flower, and the lotus flower moves through the mud in order to blossom at the top of the water. It grows in the murkiest of ponds, but it blooms into this beautiful flower at the top. That message is all about, Thich Nhat Hanh famously said, no mud, no lotus. The idea, if you don't have mud in your life, if you don't have that struggle, you can't grow and blossom. This book is the same idea. It's the idea of struggle, but this time we're using a butterfly. And the first theme, the first page or the first spread is all about the fact that this monk was trying to help this butterfly along in its journey, and it tried to help it, but instead it actually hurt the butterfly. So that's the first story. I can read it if you want.
Yes.
Sure.
Why not? Why shouldn't we get a live reading here?
Should we get a live reading?
Of course. I didn't even know that was going to be part of the conversation here. But yeah, this is on page 5.
Yeah.
So it's the first story. So yeah, here you go, folks. Hania Khuri-Trapper from her new book, Home is Here.
Welcome to your journey. There is a Buddhist parable about a monk and a butterfly. The monk came across a butterfly in its cocoon and decided to sit and watch as it began its transition into the world. He watched for hours as the butterfly struggled to break free, until finally it stopped moving altogether. Concerned, he thought, maybe I can help this butterfly on its journey. With the best intentions, he carefully cut a small piece of the cocoon to let the butterfly out. The butterfly escaped easily, but its wings were small, and its body was bloated and heavy. The monk watched and waited for it to fly away, but it could not lift off. The butterfly lived the rest of its days crawling from one branch to the next. What the monk did not realize was that the struggle itself was necessary. The effort of pushing through the cocoon strengthened the butterfly's wings and allowed the fluid in its body to flow outward, giving the wings their shape and power. Without that struggle, the butterfly could not fly. The tension was not an obstacle, but a wise teacher, helping the butterfly develop, expand, and finally find freedom. On the other side of struggle lies growth and wisdom. No one can move through our struggles for us. Even in darkness, the struggle prepares our wings. And when the time comes, we too will rise, not in spite of the pain, but because of it.
Wow, profound. That's really great, and it sets the tone for the whole book, and it just prepares your mind for engagement. That's great. Good job.
Thank you.
Very moving. So how do people get the book? Where are we going to see you over the next couple of days and weeks? Because it's that holiday season when a gift like this would be perfect for the people you love.
It is a really good book, a gift, because I think of it as a healing tool, for people. And a lot of times people will buy the book, they'll read it, and they'll say, wow, I want one for this person who's going through this and this person who's going through that. So it kind of ends up being a nice healing tool for someone as a gift that kind of keeps on giving. A lot of people say that they have it by their nightstand, and they'll just open to a random spread and just give them a little piece in their day. So my book is available. It will be available in January. It's more of a New Year's, 52 weeks starting in the new year. It'll be available on bookbaby.com and on Amazon, and probably Barnes & Noble too. And hopefully I'll be selling some books at Decor and More in Westwood. And also, you can always reach out to me. I have yogawithhania.com, and you can just email me, and I can ship books to anybody. Also, I have an event coming up this Sunday at Lululemon in Legacy Place in Dedham, and that's from 6 to 7 p.m. And that's a free event, and I'll be reading from the book and selling books and also signing them. So, yeah. So get in touch.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
Anything else exciting going on in your life?
Oh, I don't know. I'm a little bit busy. I am going to in January. I'm going back to Tulum with another whole group of people, and I'm really excited about that. Yeah, and the teaching is going great. I'm running a lot of teacher training programs at the moment, and yeah, I'm a busy girl. And I have my 2 boys are doing great, and husband singer-songwriter is doing great, and my dog is running around here somewhere.
Oh, we love Marley.
Yeah, Marley's around. So
Marley's the best. And I'm right there with you. We have kids in the same exact age, right? So you've got Sammy, who's a sophomore.
Yeah.
Right? Dahlia's a sophomore right now. And then you have Ferris, who's a senior, and I have Olivia, who's a senior. So we're going through the same.
We're on it. We're in it. We're in it right now.
You and Chris went the all boys route. And
yeah, you went the girls.
All girls route.
Very different routes.
I know, but it's okay. It's all good.
It's all good.
It's fun to hear the stories from the different perspectives.
Exactly.
Well, I love catching up, and I'm glad we got a chance to do this. Of course, you've been looking at it throughout the course of this podcast, but the title of the new book is called Home. Hold on, that wasn't clean on my end, so I got to clean that up. Well, I love catching up, and for those of you listening and have, well, I love catching up, and for those of you who have been watching this with a slate, you can see the cover of the book on that slate. It is Home is Here, Weekly Reminders to Pause, Reflect, and Just Be. It's by Hania Khuri-Trapper, and she just shared all the different ways that you can pick yourself up a copy, and I'd highly recommend it. Really high quality. The one I'm looking at here is a hardcover, so very, very cool. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for having me, Tom.
So
Appreciate
I didn't know
it.
I'd get a book reading today. That's the first book reading we've had on the podcast network, but that's great. Folks, as always, if there's someone else you want me to have a conversation with, just reach out, Leyden@bestversionmedia.com. Send me an email. I will reach out to that person, have a conversation with them, and then share it with you right here on the Westwood Living Podcast Network. But for now, with Hania Khuri-Trapper from Around the Kitchen Table, a very familiar place, this is Tom with Hania saying so long, and thanks so much for listening.